we're bafanging. So here I got a Nishi Colorado Comp that I ordered from Dick's Sporting Goods because they have a sale going on. And it was an awesome bike that I actually got to ride in the store to check out. So it got delivered here. I got to put together mostly. I didn't put the pedals on because they got to come off anyway. So the first thing we got to do is take this bottom bracket out to get our motor put in place. So we take the bolt out that's holding it in. Then we go to our awesome toolkit here. Take your removal tool that threads into the pedal bar here, and then you screw it down into it, and it's going to pull this right off. Should take the chain off first. There's our pedal bar off of there. And we need to take the bottom bracket out. So take our bottom bracket tool, and this excuse for a socket wrench.
Hey, I'm going to be affiliate linking that.
It is really good to have a good bike shop right around the corner. So now that's all set. We're all ready for that. I chose this bike specifically because it only had one gear on the gear set down here, so there's no shifter to remove over here. Like we had to remove a shifter from Lewis's one, and that was a pain in the ass to do. So there's nothing to worry about there, and all of my other cables are running on the top bar. There's nothing running underneath where the motor's going. So now unbox Bafang. So we got Bafang box here. Here is brand new Bafang. Ooh, we get to pull off the plastic. Ah. Ooh, pull off the plastic. Oh, the best part of a new toy. So satisfying. Ooh, I can't get the other one off with gloves on. I'll leave that one on.
So this is the Bafang?
This is the Bafang. Look at that Bafang. Look at that Bafang. 1,000 watt, 48 volt motor. So now we insert Bafang where pedals once were. Tight fit. Okay, Bafang is a really tight fit. We need some more force. Let gravity work with us. It's getting there. If the Bafang didn't fit, I would be dremeling. Bafang is in. Now rotate it up. I said rotate it up. I said rotate in an upward motion. Bafang is in. It's so tight in there, practically not. We need the locking ring. Okay, electrical wires. Okay, pedal bars. Here's the locking ring and all the bolts. Electrical wires. Just take everything out. Crappy wheel. Throttle. Everybody here is hating the thumb throttle. I think I'm going to try the thumb throttle for a while myself. So turn bike, is that possible? Oh. Oh. So now that we have the motor pushed in, we're going to put the locking ring here. First you have a support ring, then the locking ring, then the locking ring, which is all right here. Okay, the support ring goes on. Let's loosely bolt in the bolts for the support ring. The support bracket is loosely put in. So now I'm going to put the locking ring on. I'm going to tighten this down more. Okay, then we put the locking ring on to make sure that that nut doesn't come loose. And that just needs to be snug. You don't want to tighten that up too much. It's only an aluminum ring, and that's only to keep the other one from backing out. So just snug, that's it. That's something that people first working on mechanical things, mechanics type stuff, they have a tendency to over-tighten things like this. And if you over-tighten, especially an aluminum ring on a steel mandrel, this aluminum ring is just going to break in half or strip out. So if you keep tightening this, you're going to want to force the metal that's in the threads farther in when it can't even move anymore, so it just rips the threads right off of it. And then you would have a little coil that looks like a little aluminum wire sitting in there. So the Bafang motor is firmly in place there. Now the pedal bars. I think I can use my original ones if I want to. My original ones are a little bit longer. I think I would like that anyway. Let's see if they have the same, if they clear. Yeah, my original pedal bars that came with my bike fit on here nicely, so I'm not going to use the Bafang ones. I will use Bafang's bolts though. Now this is what this wrench is good for. This one that we complained about earlier, it's a bad socket wrench. I don't work on bikes. I don't know proper terminology. They're crank arms. They're crank arms. They're crank arms. They're the crank arms. Everybody's reading their own chat. They should know. They should see. So this is just a giant Allen key for the crank arms. Instead of using this T-handle, which you have practically no leverage on, you have a lot of leverage on this, because you want to tighten your crank arms really well. That's one side. So now this is the other side. So I'm going to put my crank wheel on.
Is it the stock Bafang one?
This is the stock Bafang wheel, chain wheel. Which it seems everybody in the world hates.
I hate it.
Everyone hates that chain wheel.
Pops off constantly.
The longest my chain wheel runs before I'm on it, so I just use it.
So here you want to put one in. It locks in on the hub, and you have to try to line up these holes because there's no keyway or anything like that. So you just want to put it on the hub loosely and put one bolt in, and then work in another bolt. And you always go across. You tighten this up and put the bolts in and tighten it up in a star pattern. So you go top, then bottom, then I'm going to go next to the top on the other side. Then bottom over here. So you always go across when putting this on and then when tightening it down. So now I have all of them kind of touching it, so I go back to my first one. Tighten it all the way down.
Do you do this tighter than that aluminum ring on the other side?
No, these are small bolts. You don't want to tighten them too much. And I wouldn't bother with, we have the chain holder so we could hold this wheel, hold the chain wheel. I wouldn't do that. You're going to over tighten them if you do that. If you're going to stick a tool in here and try to hold it, you're going to over tighten them. So wear a glove, grab onto the chain wheel, tighten them as tight as you can with that, and that's it. There's no reason to go crazy on these little bolts. These are tiny little bolts, and there's 5 of them, so you're fine with just as tight as you can make them.
And you need to take it off when you get sick and tired of that chain.
Okay, Paul isn't on another one.
That's a much bigger chain wheel than the default one on your bike.
Yeah, the gearing's going to be much different than what the bike was actually shipped with.
The chain really wants to fit on.
Yeah, I might have to get a longer chain. No, not might. I will have to get a longer chain. Because the chain wheel that came with this bike is only that big. So I will have to get a longer chain.
You're gonna get the tiny chain wheel, right? From Luna?
I'm going to get the smallest chain wheel that they make, but I'm with the size of this first wheel over here, I'm definitely going to have to get a longer chain.
If you get a tiny chain?
They don't make them that small.
They make
How many teeth is this? This is a 30 tooth. They make a 30 tooth? Oh, awesome. So okay, I won't have to change the chain at all. I'll just get the 30 tooth chain wheel.
This is a really how is this not a really
Better than getting a real e-bike? You mean like a pre-assembled e-bike? Yes, this is more customizable. This is it's better to have something that you built with your hands.
It goes over 20 miles an hour.
Stop that.
Oh, does this go over 12
It's fully
20 miles an
legal
hour?
for all roads everywhere.
And it has pedal assist.
Did you mount yours before getting rid of pedal assist?
I thought we could do it software.
Wait, we don't get rid of pedal assist. Yeah. And you're not installing a throttle on this, right?
No, not at all.
Because installing a throttle would make it illegal.
Why are you getting one?
I'm getting one for Paul. I deserve it. Because he's gonna fix those 2 machines that I gave him that have no engine.
Okay. What's next? Battery? I'm putting just a giant water bottle that has a lot of angry pixies in it.
What's an angry pixie?
An angry pixie is an electron.
Is that some AVE speak?
That is some AVE speak. This skookum battery right here with all the angry pixies.
How powerful is this battery?
20 volts.
What, 52 volts at providing at least 30 amps or 40 amps, something like
30
that?
amps, I guess.
30 amps?
It's in the code. I'll leave-
Okay, my bolts are too short to put the rubber pieces in, so I will locate longer bolts at a later time and put the rubber pieces in
What are the rubber pieces?
to stabilize this on the bike bar.
Can you just over tighten it to make the rubber pieces fit in?
You can over tighten it, but I wouldn't suggest it.
But then you have no rubber. It's unprotected.
I don't like rubbers.
Yeah, he likes to go bare.
Okay.
Is that backwards or no?
See, somebody used one of our T-bar Allen keys as a pry bar already.
Is it actually bent?
Yes, it's actually bent.
Oh no.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Which one is that?
3 millimeter.
That's the most important one. That's for the seat, I think. Wait, no.
Okay. Now wiring.
Are you actually done?
I'm done befanging, now we wire.
Why did you take 5 hours on Lewis's? I guess it's like experience.
Damn, Luna still hasn't shipped my chain ring for Monday.
Okay, here's the color TFT screen.
Luna, if you're watching, ship my chain ring.
Shit, mine. Goddamn it.
So now we move up to the handlebars.
Can I?
We're putting on the control panel, or the readout on the handlebars here.
Camera. Up here.
Bye bye, mouse. That fits nicely right in the center there.
Bye-bye. E-bike. What's next?
Next handlebar, brakes.
What?
Brake levers.
Wait for last.
Who needs brakes?
Who needs brakes? Bigger. I'm not going to put these on too tight because I'll probably have to move exactly where they are.
What? Buy you some paper? You want paper or screen? Screen for sure. Set it yourself.
Okay, this is a pain. Okay, so you have to squeeze the disc up a little bit to loosen the cable. And then pull the cable out here. Why does my cable seem like it's frozen? Oh. Is there a lock on this cable? Oh no, it's damaged. Damaged in shipping.
The bike or
The
cable
bike.
of the tank?
The bike.
How bad is the brake cable?
It's pinched in here. It was bent in shipping.
Do you need the front brakes? Can you just deal with only the back brakes?
No, I need the front brakes.
What do you need front brakes for? I didn't have front brakes for a week.
That's insanity.
Yeah, and you barely have back brakes right now.
I did not open my bicycle with a sledgehammer, so that is real shipping damage. There you go. It broke free. So I have no adjustment down here now anymore because of that, but I can always adjust it from here. So now that's nice and easy. So the end of this, can you see anything? It's kind of dark here and everything's black. This nut here, This is where you could adjust up your brakes to tighten everything up as you wear your pads down. You also have an adjustment on your handlebar too, on your grip. So this right here was bent in. It must have got hit, and it was bent in, pinching the cable. So I just bent it back out, and it just broke right off because all it is aluminum. So this piece is buyable. I could just buy a replacement piece and put a new one on. But it doesn't really matter. All I do is just I lose this adjustment, and all I have is just the one on the handlebar. And if I run out of room on the handlebar one, I'm gonna have to move the cable in this bracket a little bit farther out each time I need to move it. Which I'm going to have to do now because the brake pads are new. This should be all the way in, and I'm not getting any stopping power. So I need to do that anyway. Okay, front brakes are done. Now back brake handle.
How much is the bike, someone asked?
It's $500 on sale right now on Dick's Sporting Goods with free shipping to the continental United States. So yeah, shipping something like this, it's supposed to be $80, and they're waiving the shipping for some promotion right now. I don't know if it's over or not.
Focusing on all those MacBooks with no image on your desk rather than...
My beautiful stack of MacBooks that have grown exponentially because I was teaching this week, and somehow I get punished for teaching by having lots and lots of crap on my desk afterwards.
You get a Mac bike. I mean, a e-bike.
Mac bike.
The punishment is the 386 for the tractor.
Oh God. Yes, we have a 386 computer coming in here that needs to be repaired.
What's it for?
For a John Deere tractor, the worst offender, worse than Apple in the right to repair area. Okay, now adjust the rear brakes. Excuse me? So stuff like this is why stores like Dick's tell you to get it professionally put together at a real shop, because when you get it, the brakes are completely unadjusted, and you have to adjust the brakes, and that's that's your ass if you do it wrong. Feels good. Okay, brake handles are on.
Hello, Shimano gear changer.
Uh,
Nicer than mine.
I don't think so. No, it's not Shimano. SRAM. Okay, wires. Now we just got to connect up a shitload of wires. Cable management. You have all these wires coming out of the bottom of the Bafang, and some of them are going to the battery, some of them are going all the way up to the controller on top, the brake handles and everything like that. One of them's going into the back for the speed sensor magnet. You got one for your lighting system for whatever lights you put on here. And you want to make sure they're all free down here. You don't want them crossing over each other like crazy and a big bundle when you first start. So you want them nice and free and flowing, and then you got to zip tie it everywhere and make it look nice. You don't want any of these hanging where they're going to get caught on a heel when you're coming around here or something. You don't want to rip any of this stuff out of the controller, because the control board in here is another $300 if you need to replace it.
The Bafang also likes to hop up and down. Did you tighten it a lot to make sure it's
Yeah, this is sometimes this will get loose after a while. You have to keep checking it, especially after you first install it. You have to check this, loosen the locking nut, tighten it down a little bit more, put the locking nut back. So you always have to keep checking this thing here. And if this gets loose and starts moving, you don't want your wires to get strained too much. So you got to leave a little bit of slack there, but you want it tied up where you're not going to kick it or rip it out in any way. Luckily, everything's connectored. Everything here has connectors, so you can test fit it and then easily pull a connector apart to reroute your wire, put it back together. This one's difficult. This one has no keyway in it, so the pins, you can accidentally plug it in clocked a little bit wrong, and you could bend all of your pins in here. You could just bend over one of your pins. So you have to make sure that you're putting this on right. You line up the two arrows. You can see as you made it up, you line up the two arrows on the top so that they're perfectly pointing at each other, and then it will push in without bending any of those little pins in there. And this is the main control wire that has all the plugs for everything up top here, for your screen, for your throttle, for your brake cutoffs, all that stuff. Then down here you have the yellow one is for your shift sensor, if you buy the optional shift sensor, which I ordered and it's at my house today.
Does mine have a shift sensor?
You have the wire. You need to order a shift sensor for it. And then that's the wire for the shift sensor. It senses when you move the cable to shift gears, and it acts just like you hit the brakes, and it lets off on the throttle on the motor so that it shifts smoothly. So now here I'm going to separate my wires. So this one's going to the back.
I just destroyed my chain wheel.
This is all going up front.
Leave everything on the chain wheel, get one from Lunar Cycles, and it also breaks.
So I'm going to temporarily tie these up here with a temporary zip tie, a removable zip tie. So this battery connection is real easy, red to red, black to black. I really hope nobody screws that one up.
Someone's gonna screw that up.
I'm sure somebody out there has screwed that up.
Watching this thing.
So
Someone said nothing like finding someone unscrewed a PS2 connector. Twisted.
I'm going to put my flying magnet somewhere. That's for the speed sensor. The computer senses how many times that passes, and it knows the circumference of your wheel, so that's how it gets your speed.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you put this. You can put it all the way out. You can put it all the way in. It doesn't matter really. You look for clearance to make sure it's clearancing everything and that the magnet can go there. Mr. Daniels. Kopaz, stop giving us back your paycheck.
Is that something like temporarily banning worthy or no?
No. So that will get zip tied and it has glue and on the back of it too. So what did I miss up here? The thumb throttle.
Well, no, we're not using a thumb throttle. No thumb throttle.
So where do I want the thumb throttle? I want the thumb throttle on the inside of this. I want to put on the control panel, the button bar, and I forgot I want that one first. So yeah, everything has to come off here.
You have a phone mount?
I do not have a phone mount. I need to get a phone mount. I kind of like the phone mount you have. I'm probably going to get the same one. Oops. It doesn't even reach. So I got to take the screen off again.
Someone says the throttle is illegal.
Okay, buttons are on.
He's focusing on your Russell Pro Cotton logo instead of the bike.
Russell Athletic. Buttons. Brakes.
Topaz wants to 3D print your phone now.
Lever that doesn't do anything. It's just there for show.
Stock throttle.
Is that it for stuff up there? That's it for stuff up there.
You have a lot of spare parts down there.
Everybody has a lot of spare parts when they do this.
Can you put this on?
This refocus is very good.
Okay. Next wires.
No specialty tip. I just need one. Thank you.
So now everything here is color coded and or gender coded.
You assume that connector's gender.
I assume that connector's gender.
What gender is it?
They are nicely mated, a male and female pair. Notice how you cannot connect two males, you cannot connect two females without some type of adapter.
There's gonna be some triggered people in the comments.
There's a keyway on these so that you line it up right and don't bend these tiny pins. There's a keyway that lines up. It also has the arrows that help you align it. Now that everything's connected, we can think some cable management here. Now you need to leave some slack because this is where you're turning. And I want to redo all of them anyway because I want them underneath my what is this, brake? My brake cable. So all of them are coming out. This is going under my brake cable. That's the beauty of having all these connectors. This is great.
The LCD screen connects with just 5 pins?
5 pins. So yeah, the LCD is only 5 pins. It'll be a positive and negative power supply, and then data.
High resolution.
So now this is where I start going crazy with zip ties and making sure
Right around like this?
everything's nice and flat
I think this looks great.
and pretty. That's a jumbled mess right now.
Looks better than mine with the zip ties.
That's actually not even true. Yours actually looks nice.
It looked nice when Paul first did it in the beginning, then I fucked it up when I put it back.
You had to make yours shorter by putting on the other brake handle, because you had a really short cable that came with the replacement brake handle. So zip tying. So we have many zips of the tie.
ABU would be proud.
You give me time to sit here. Since this is my bike, I will be playing with it for a long time. I'm going to have lights on it. I'm going to put LED strip light, a white LED strip light under here, possibly under here too, yellow along the sides and everything. You're going to see me when I'm on the road because I'm not getting killed. All these wires will look immaculate. I will wind up getting more of this split loom to cover everything, so everything's all in a split loom. Yeah, I'll slowly work it out to where it's going to look nice.
New York people can see you, it's just they don't care.
Well, okay, they can see you, they just don't care. Well, I'm putting a gigantic air horn on this thing that is going to scare the freaking bejesus out of anybody that's trying to run me over.
Is that legal?
I don't care. The motorcyclists have argued for many years now that they should be allowed to have as loud of exhaust as they want for safety reasons. Well, if I'm riding a bike on the road in Manhattan, a loud horn is safety reasons. Forget that little ding ding. You know, we're not doing any of that stupid bell shit on here. I'm putting a 12-volt air horn on this. And I'm not one to abuse it or anything. I'm not going to be honking it at people on just in crosswalks or something like that. I don't do stupid stuff with it, so as long as you don't do stupid stuff with whatever, ain't nobody bothering you about it. A very important thing when it comes down to it. Anybody that has used zip ties, anybody that has been around any piece of equipment that has zip ties put on it, how do you cut zip ties? I want to hear it in the chat. How do you cut zip ties? What do you use to cut zip ties? If anybody says dikes, you're banned. That's it.
Scissors.
Anybody says scissors, you're banned. You're done. No more.
So what is the problem with that? Why does that matter?
You use flush cutters. Flush cutters. Flush cutters cut stuff what? Flush. You have an angle on this side. It's completely flat on this side. So whatever side this is on will be completely flat. You go up against the box of the zip tie and you cut it completely flat. Because next time I reach in here to do something, I am not slicing my arm open on a zip tie that was cut with dikes or wire cutters or something like that. Flush cutters, only flush cutters. In a pinch, you could use an X-Acto blade or a razor blade and go straight across the top of the box. That works as well. Flush cutter is the easiest way. Anybody that does otherwise should be locked away for the rest of their lives in a mental institution.
I'm taking those flush cuts seriously.
I take flush cutting extremely seriously. I've had my arm sliced open.
How bad?
It's bad. It slices you open as if it was a razor blade. Now, unfortunately, there is a bunch of extra wire that needs to be buried. So I'm going to disconnect it here because I don't want twists in the wire. I just want to bury it. So I'm going to make a nice loop. I'm going to squeeze that loop into an oval. Reconnect it. Readjust the size of the loop until I bury all that cable. And we're going to put a zip tie on the loop and then on the bar to the loop. What are dikes? Wire cutters. The regular channel lock wire cutters. The Harbor Freight wire cutters. Zip ties are dangerous if you cut them wrong. They really are. I believe in China-made Bafang and that it will function from the first time out and that I do not have to do any kind of troubleshooting. So everything is being zip tied and fully put on. So this is my shift sensor. I should keep this down out of here. It'll stay up here for now. Let me put a cover on it. Hey. That one, see. Now, if I were a braver man, ow, yeah, that will cut you. That will cut you bad.
So this is what not to do.
That's what some people do with zip ties. I hope you can get a good shot of that.
Shit, not enough light.
You can see it. You see that angle there. That is dangerous as all hell. That will cut your arm straight open. You'll bleed like a stuck pig.
Much danger in zip ties.
Anybody who works on AV stuff or works in IT have reached into a 1,000 Cat 6 cables and come out with an arm that looks like it was attacked by a cat. You know what I mean. Well, wait, no, I need the speed sensor on. This is the speed sensor. I need tiny zip tie. So I'm gonna, I guess you could do this either way. I'm going to place the sensor on the bike first, and then I'm going to match up the magnet for where the sensor is. On the handlebars, not on me. And once you put the sensor on, you adjust it for depth into the tire, and then you lock it down with a little screw, which I cannot handle with these gloves on. Phillips head screwdriver, please. The largest one Lewis has.
Flat tip?
Phillips head.
Oh, shit. Kind of funny. You see the pattern on this? How it's smaller to large? Smaller to large, but like opposite? Because they didn't want, like, they...
So what's getting adjusted now?
That was the speed sensor magnet was put on. So this the speed sensor magnet goes on the spokes, which is still loose.
Almost wide.
Oh, so it goes on one of the spokes?
One spoke, and that tells the computer how many times the wheel turns.
Whatever she is turning.
think I'm ready to bafang. Oh wait, pedals. I could use pedals.
No, you don't. You don't. Who's pedal?
Pedals need to be on there.
You don't need to pedal.
Well, we're pretending. Where are my pedals?
The whole point of the thing is no.
There they are.
Reflectors?
Yes, you need reflectors.
Do you have lights?
To be legal, you need reflectors. I don't have lights yet. I have lots of lights on order. Wait. Left.
Is it possible to put the Bafang backwards by accident so the bike goes in reverse?
No, it's not possible to put the Bafang on backwards. Because the chain wheel is on one side, and there's no way to put the chain wheel on this side and still make it to the chain. All right, first time power up. Battery in. Lock the battery. Power button. Oh, power switch. Power button. Bafang, power your life.
Can you show them? We're not,
Power button, hold down. Bafang.
Focus. Focus, you piece of shit.
Wait a second. That has a light sensor in it. It has automatic headlights. I did not know that. It automatically turns on your headlights at night. You don't have to turn on the headlights. I did not see that. That's a pleasant surprise.
Focus, you fuck.
Okay, setup. Let's do some setup.
You don't need to set up, just the Bafang. Do you want to show the percentage or the voltage of the battery?
Voltage.
Yeah, the percentage is bullshit. I don't know how the hell it guesses percentage. It's not like it talks to the damn battery.
Unit. Let's go Imperial. Brightness 100%. Auto off. Okay. Power view. I'd like to see current instead of power.
I don't think it shows you current.
Voltage. Trip reset. Wheel size is 27. It's 27.5. I guess I'll stick with 28 because of the giant tires too.
Speed limit?
What speed limit? What do you mean speed limit? Speed limit? We're doing a speed limit? Speed limit?
You're a fucking madman.
We're doing a speed limit? Yeah.
Alright, time to see if this works.
Okay, are we bafanging? We're bafanging.
Pedal assist.
We're bafanging.
Can you try?
That was 1.
This is the highest gear, I
See if
believe.
it goes.
Here's 9.
Is that all the way down?
That's all the way down at 57 miles an hour. So I forgot to hide a wire, I see. But we're all set. We're bafanging.
What's this?
What's what? Nothing's tight here yet. All of these need to be tightened up. All of this needs to be just This slack is good, but I want like just a couple little zip ties holding this all together so they're not all flying around all over the place.